Thank you very much, Francis. Good evening all, ministers, MPs, senators, members of the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen all. Thank you for joining us this evening as I share with you my concerns and my action with respect to matters that have been in the public domain over the last several days. When my government assumed office, I pledged that there would be no compromise on integrity or performance. I took an oath under the Constitution of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago that I will bear true faith and allegiance to Trinidad and Tobago and will uphold the Constitution and the law, and that I will conscientiously, impartially, and to the best of my ability discharge my duties as Prime Minister and do right to all manner of people without fear or favor, affection or ill will. I have strived in every way to do so over the past 4.5 years, as I took steps to ensure that the public interest was paramount. Sometimes changes in government were required to protect the public interest. Sometimes I have been criticized for removing too many office holders from office over the past 4.5 years. But then I was seeking on each occasion to ensure that the public interest was and is and will continue to be secured. Whilst it may not have served narrow political interests, I took the decisions necessary to serve the broader national interest above and beyond everything else. I did so whilst ensuring all matters were fairly and reasonably considered and that all parties were given an opportunity to be heard and evaluated. Despite the fact that we are today on the cusp of a general election, I want to make it very clear that my considerations today will be no less driven by any other than that of what is best for the nation. For me, my position as Prime Minister has always been a selfless task and one which I felt humbled to have been granted through the will of the people and the grace of God. There have been allegations being made by the current director of the Police Complaints Authority regarding the Attorney General. The director of the PCA has signed a statement, it's reported, in which he claims that the Honorable Attorney General had asked him, the director of the PCA, to withdraw his witness statement in a defamation matter against the opposition leader. The Attorney General has vehemently denied the allegation. The Trinidad and Tobago Police Service has confirmed that an investigation has been conducted into the matter. More recently, the Honourable Minister of National Security has become embroiled in the same matter. It is alleged that the Minister, upon the advice of the AG, telephoned the Director of the PCA to query whether he, the Director, had withdrawn a statement. That alleged incident also forms part of the police inquiry. The Minister of National Security has confirmed that he did in fact make such a call. Upon placing that call, the Minister did not consult with me nor make it known the details of his conversation with the Director of the PCA. The Minister also did not report to me the request or alleged request of the Attorney General either before or after his call to the Director of the PCA. And so the question is whether the Minister was not under an obligation to inform me as Prime Minister that such a request alleged had been made or that such a call had been made. I say that the situation may very well have been different today had this matter been brought to my attention earlier. I have requested and received statements from the Honourable Attorney General and the Honourable Minister of National Security. I have perused both those statements as well as the reported statements because I have no limit over the Director of the PCA, but the reported statements of the Director of the PCA. And for my perusal of these reports from the AG and Minister of National Security, and my perusal of the reported statements of Director West, I have discerned that the material facts contained therein are in conflict. with each other. I cannot be judge and jury to determine the truth or veracity of any or all of these material facts contained in the various statements. Whilst I am not in a position to determine neither guilt nor innocence in this matter, it is of grave enough consequence to warrant very serious consideration and immediate action. I cannot and will not sit idly by whilst the office of the Attorney General and that of the Minister of National Security, as well as that of the head of the Police Complaints Authority, are being compromised and brought into disrepute by such allegations which have warranted a police inquiry. Those office holders preside over the administration of justice, over law and order, and so they cannot remain in those positions whilst these investigations into allegations are being made. I want to make it clear that I cast no aspersions on the capacity, the performance, guilt or innocence of these office holders. But I cannot have these offices be so embroiled in conflict and controversy, eroding public confidence in institutions which they lead. Without prejudice to neither the outcome nor denial of any party to due process and a fair and just determination in the matter, I have asked for and received the resignation of the Honorable Attorney General. I have asked for that of the Minister of National Security as well. These resignations are made as I have advised His Excellency the President. What is also of equally grave concern to me, as it must be to the nation, is the compromised position of the Director of the Police Complaints Authority arising out of this situation. The question must arise as to why he did not make it known to me or to His Excellency the President when the position of heading the PCA was offered to him in November, October, late November, early November. Further, why did he wait until now to make public this matter? If the opposition leader also knew of the issue at the time, when he was consulted about the appointment by myself, we had discussions, and by the President, it is my respectful view that it would have been obligatory, if not mandatory, to have informed me and or His Excellency. Failure by the opposition leader to do so at the time does create doubt to any independent observer as to why no mention was made at the time of appointment, and why was there such a delay between November, when the appointment was made, and now in making the matter known to the public. Given the political sensitivity and nature of the alleged incidents, I think respectfully it would have been not just prudent but mandatory that both myself and His Excellency the President be informed. Withholding such information has seriously compromised the appointment of the Director of the PCA. It is my view, therefore, that the Director of the PCA should immediately resign, and or that his appointment be revoked in all of the circumstances. The PCA is an independent institution under statute, and public confidence must remain strong if that body is to carry out its duties without fear or favor and be perceived by all to do so. You know, saying justice must not only be done, but must be seen to be done. Again, I say respectfully, it will be impossible, given the present current situation, that the head can continue to hold his position without the very institution he leads also being called into question. The head of the PCA has the responsibility to investigate complaints against police officers, and so he would find himself doing so now, whilst he himself has filed a matter for investigation to the Commissioner of Police. The threat of conflict of interest or perception thereof clearly emerges and compromises the role of the head of the Police Complaints Authority. Further, questions also arise on the role of the opposition leader in the matter. Did the opposition leader not have a moral, if not legal obligation, to inform me as Prime Minister and His Excellency the President about the personal involvement of a witness in a statement involving himself, the leader of the opposition. One has to be mindful that public office is not used for private gain. Had there been a disclosure by the opposition leader of the personal interest in a legal matter involving himself and the director of the PCA at the point of his nomination to be head of the PCA, the conflict of interest would have been declared. Again, the question arises, and I want to say there are more questions than answers in this entire scenario. And so a further question which arises is whether there was any deliberate attempt to hoodwink His Excellency and the Prime Minister in making the appointment by such non-disclosure. And so I urge that an independent probe be conducted into these circumstances involving the Attorney General, the Minister of National Security, the head of the Police Complaints Authority, and the opposition leader. And so let the chips fall where they may. I recognize that this cannot be an easy time for all individuals affected, but know their duty to country first would bring to bear the burden of the action necessary to be taken. As I said, I have received the resignations of several other persons, and today I would like to announce that I will advise His Excellency the President as follows: to revoke the appointments of the Honourable Attorney General, the Minister of National Security, and in addition, to revoke the appointment of myself as Minister of the People and Social Development, to revoke the appointment of Minister Mohini as Senator and Minister in the Ministry of National Security, to revoke the appointment of Minister Rupert Griffith as Minister of Sport, to revoke the appointment of Minister Stacey Ruperine as Minister in the Ministry of Works and Infrastructure, to revoke the appointment of Minister Emmanuel George, and to revoke the appointment of Senator Mr. Timothy Hammersmith. In light of this, I will also advise His Excellency that in accordance with the Constitution of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, to appoint the following persons. And before I do that, I want to publicly thank these honourable gentlemen who have served us well for their support and contribution in building Trinidad and Tobago. And so, as we thank them for their service, I also wish to indicate that I will advise His Excellency the President to appoint the following persons: the Honourable Prakash Ramada, currently the Minister of Legal Affairs, to also serve as Minister of Justice, in addition to Legal Affairs as Minister of Justice. Ms. Christine Nawalo Hussain, to be appointed as Minister of the People and Social Development. And if I may say a little about Ms. Nawalo Hussain, she is currently the advisor to the Prime Minister at the Ministry of the People and Social Development. She was previously the advisor to the Minister in Lands and Marine Resources. She has also held the position of advisor to the Minister of Tourism and advisor to the Minister of Trade. Ms. Nawalo Hussain is certificated in basic German, Spanish, and French and Communication Studies. She also served as director of YesTT, a coordinator for the Caribbean Center for Human Rights Victim Support Unit. And she was in 2004 the recipient of a Mentor Award, the Prime Minister's Award for Innovation and Invention. We welcome her on board with her appointment. Further, Mr. Brent Sancho to be appointed as Mr. Brent Sancho as Minister of Sport. Mr. Sancho is a prolific sportsman, having represented Trinidad and Tobago in the field of football for several years. He is a former national football player for Trinidad and Tobago, and he has toured various countries around the world and represented many clubs at the local and international levels. Brent Sancho is also the holder of an associate degree in English from Essex Community College in the USA, and the holder of a Bachelor of Arts degree in Psychology from St. John's University in the USA. Further, Mr. Kwasi Mutuma to be appointed as Minister in the Ministry of Works and Infrastructure. Mr. Kwasi Mutuma, former Deputy Political Leader of the NJAC, now the leader of the NJAC, holds a Master's degree in Business Administration from Heriot Watt University, Scotland. He's a former lecturer at the Butler Institute of Lifelong Learning and a coordinator of the Save One Scholarship Program, assisting students in underdeveloped areas to develop themselves academically. Mr. Mutima resides in Barata, is currently, as I said, Deputy Chairman of the Board of Governors of the University of Trinidad and Tobago. Further, I've advised His Excellency with respect to the appointment of Brigadier General former Carlton Alfred Alfonso as Minister of National Security. Many of you know that Brigadier General Alfonso has served our country as aide-de-camp to the President, to His Excellency former President Nur Hassan Ali. He's a former commanding officer of the Trinidad and Tobago Regiment and was the first enlisted man to ascend to the position of Chief of the Defense Staff, where he served from 1994 to 1999. Since his retirement, Brigadier General Alfonso has served as Security Advisor and Chief Security Officer at Petrotrin, thereafter as Chairman of Plipdeco, and thereafter Director of the Prime Minister's Residence and Diplomatic Center, and currently, well, as of prior to his appointment, as Director General of the National Security Training Academy. General and Brigadier General Alfonso in 2012 was awarded the Medal of Merit Gold for community service. Further, to the appointment of Mr. Garvin Nicholas as Attorney General of Trinidad and Tobago. Mr. Nicholas, an attorney at law, is a former temporary senator, local government councillor, press secretary to the Prime Minister and High Commissioner to the Court of St. James, and ambassador to Denmark, Finland, Germany, Norway, and Sweden. With these appointments, I want to say that I will continue to do whatever I can to lead our nation with the same resolve to maintain the inviolable principles of good governance. You can rest assured that I have both the courage and personal fortitude to do what is right whenever it is so necessary to do, regardless of consequences. It is what you expected of me when you elected me to office. I will never shirk this responsibility to you and the office I am sworn to withhold. Gone are the days when a government may feel it doesn't need to give account for its actions or would undermine public confidence bestowed on officials. Some would return and would want us to go back to these old ways, but that will not stand as long as I am your Prime Minister. The changes being wrought today in ensuring accountability are of greater importance now than ever before. The old standards have changed and given way to new demands and expectations. The shift in conscience and consciousness is not without its shock waves, as the public sees decisions being taken that are unusually bold and strident in upholding the ideals for which they voted for so overwhelmingly in 2010. May God continue to guide my deliberations on the nation's behalf, and may God continue to bless you all. I thank you very much.